call the Common Council meeting to order. We have roll call, please.
Mr. Schrader. Mrs. Schatzinger.
Here.
Mr. Hanson.
Here.
Mr. Gallops.
Here.
Mrs. Kane.
Here.
Mr. Gotsky.
Here.
Mr. Wirch.
Here.
Mr. Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we ask your blessing upon this meeting. We ask your peace to rest upon everyone here. Open our ears, our hearts, our minds to hear the things that need to be said, to listen, to discern deeply, and to trust in one another and believe in one another. Let your grace abound. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
Second.
Been moved by Paige, seconded by John Split. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. All right, moving into public comment. We have a few tonight. This is the opportunity for citizens to come before the council with comments and concerns on any current city issue, knowing no action will be taken tonight. I ask that you keep it civil and respectful and within 5 minutes. However, discussion of personnel or individual members of the Common Council shall not be permitted. I expect you to be respectful, and in return, I expect the council to treat the citizens with the same respect. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you. First one is Scott. Last name is Zemlicka.
My name is Scott Zemlicka. My address is N7847 County Road E. And I just wanted to submit some questions that I asked at the last council meeting for the record.
All right.
Who do I give them to?
I'll come grab them for you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is Orlando Nevis.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Orlando Neves from Christian International and Intelligence Report, registered member of U.S. Press Agency. I was last time September 27. I issued some questions that I addressed to the Honorable Council. I have this sheet also that I would want to pass, if it's possible, regarding questions I made last time, which I haven't got the answers. Maybe you're working on the answers regarding reasonable arrangements, accommodations, religious exemptions, religious people, right? So I don't know if you're working on it or if not, but with all due respect, we present these questions in the best time possible that we can get some reasonable answers. Thank you.
Thank you. And last is Rob Wichow.
Good evening. My name is Rob Wichow, 223 Union Street. How you guys doing tonight? I'd like to also submit what I'm about to say tonight and my findings. Thank you, Mr. Hanson. All right, sorry for the reading. Usually I like to go off the cuff, but got a lot to cover quick. As you guys all know, I'm not a journalist by any means, but I can assure you, unbeknownst to you, the spotlight of the journalism is on the city of Ripon. Worldwide people are paying attention to what we, the people, are addressing in the policy, and more importantly, in how the city body are handling it right now. During the September 14th meeting, when the policy was approved, all the body had zero consideration or absolutely no discussion regarding the general public, me, someone who is not a city employee, and how the policy affects the members of the community like me. The entire discussion was about city employees and officials only. You never considered us in your actions, and I ask why. Last time I was here, I received 0 answers to the question, understandably because it was new business. But as far as I'm aware, please correct me if I'm wrong, absolutely nothing has been done to address the questions I or my fellow Americans and residents of Ripon that night were asked. No further discussion has been had, no further action has been taken, no answers provided. Will you be answering any questions tonight? I'm assuming not, since it's new business, correct?
Correct.
Per the policy, exemptions that you approve that I fall under, what reasonable accommodations have been made since last time for citizens who do not comply with the face covering policy to attend this and/or meetings in the future per the open meeting compliance and law, for no exception or reason at all. Now, my question to everyone here on council tonight is, if you do have proof of a vaccination, does that fall under the exemption, and are masks still required? The 3-letter agencies, the CDC, WHO, NIH, have all announced that the discontinued use of the RT-PCR test will discontinue as of December 31st due to false positives. Yet data combined continues to gather from the administration of these tests that you as a council have apparently made the decision to pass the policy based on that data that comes from tests on blind faith, without further any clarification or verification whatsoever. I have an attachment included with what I submitted to you guys. So basically, we're supposed to go on trust but not verify. Besides the government agencies and their information that they have provided publicly, what opposing research has this council done to formulate any non-biased decision before they vote? I suggest a motion to make further discussion in the future to regard this and abolish the policy or work together so there is, as I was approached to earlier tonight by an alderman, that it seems to be going well and nobody's having any issues. But what if there's issues in the future? And then where do we stand again, since the mandate is so vague in its entirety? And I'm going to quote a definition of a weapon, as I know very well what the definition of a weapon is, and I also Googled it. And it says, a means of contending against another. So if I have a view and you have a view, but you don't like my view, you are contending against me with a mandate or a recommended policy. I also want to go on record that OSHA has not changed their stance on anything, even with the government harassing them to change their recommendations. And I just want to end with a quote. You may think it's ignorant, but it is simplistic in how it's stated. Why do the protected need to be protected from the unprotected, but forcing the unprotected to use the protection that didn't protect the protected in the first place? Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to next order of business is accepting the informal reports from standing committees and staff. Is there a motion to accept them as published?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by David, seconded by Paige. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the informal report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Next item is a consent calendar, only one item on there, the council minutes from September 14th and 27th. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by David, seconded by John Split. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent calendar say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. Moving on to our action items. First item is application for a Class B fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for Patina V.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Howard, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving this Class B fermented beverage and intoxicating liquor license, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Moving on to a payment request for Vermont Street Parkway Terrace. Adam, you want to give a brief summary on this one?
The big one, it's over $1 million. Mike, there's a payment request, if you wanna just give an update on the project, how it's going, but, a lot of the, you can see kind of the work being done in the request. It's for $1,074,319.34. And then, you can kind of see, the overall scope and what's been done. So, anything to report
Sure.
on the project?
So they're finishing up on Parkway Terrace, the grader work for the road base. And I was told that Monday, they were gonna start running the lines for the curbing. They went in yesterday, last I seen, but it's staked and ready for that. That should take a couple days, and then they'll come in with the curbing machine, and that should take a couple days. So we're right on schedule, really pretty good. And then they'll have to do the approaches, and the plan is, because the base has been so good and not a lot of rain, that we're gonna go ahead and run the binder and the finish it up this year. Barring we don't get behind, obviously. So it's going well. Any questions?
Maybe, can you give an update on how people should, I know they have to call to, just, anyways, leaf pickup, can you just give a quick overview of this?
Yeah, we talked to Flood on that, that owns the most of the properties out there, and
Well, I'm mistaken on what I'm asking about. This is about a specific property, right? You're only speaking right now about the Vermont Street and
We're
Parkway
only talking
Terrace.
about that
I'm
one.
sorry.
okay. But I can talk about the leaf pickup in the Vermont Parkway Terrace also is, right now we can't pick up anything, we'll be picking up gravel. So we're adjusting that, we're hoping that we get some curbing done and some approaches done where they can put the leaves on. So I anticipate we'll have at least a pickup or two in there if we can get the binder on and the finish on yet this year, because we go till the third, I believe, the third Friday in November. So I think we'll still be able to get up in there and get some leaf pickup done. Working with Flood on that, and he does some text messaging so that everybody gets that communication out there. And they were gonna send it out here shortly, and then I can come back on that one later. Okay?
Thank you, Mike. Is there discussion or a motion to approve this invoice?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved by John Split, seconded by Paige. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving this invoice, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. Next item is the labor agreement between the City of Ripon and the Ripon Professional Police Association. You all have a copy of the updated contract. And do you want to give the highlights?
Sure. So, the city's union negotiating team, we did meet with representation from the Ripon Professional Police Association and the Wisconsin Professional Police Association to discuss and renegotiate the labor union contract for represented employees. That was, members of the team include myself, the mayor, Alderperson Wirch, and Alderperson Schrader. It was one night, we kind of threw some proposals back and forth, and what you have in front of you is the ratified agreement by the union. So the union has approved this. So what I will do is explain kind of the main changes. Hopefully you kind of read through everything. I would say 95% of it hasn't changed, okay? So it's very simple. First change would be, now you're gonna get me in my Roman numerals, great. Article 4, wages. So there's an attached Appendix A that is at the back of the agreement that includes the wage scale for the police department. And you can see the wage rates for starting 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, on and on through a 3-year period. So this contract is a 3-year agreement. And what this equates to is a 3% annual raise over the 3-year period. Okay, so that is what was negotiated. Article 5, insurance. You can see that there's been a change to the employee contribution to the premium cost of health insurance. It basically used to be $100 for whatever plan was selected by the employee. The negotiation went from $100 for employee only to $100 for employee only, and then employee plus spouse, employee plus children is $150 per month, and full family is $200 per month. Okay, so the union has agreed to that, and so that is a significant change to our structure in terms of insurance contributions by employees. I believe it is Article 8 is hours of work and overtime. And what we have done here is sort of incorporate a former mutual memorandum of understanding for a 12-hour work day. So that is being sort of solidified in the agreement on page 4, hours of work. So that doesn't really change anything that's currently happening. We can also request to modify that schedule and negotiate that on a 60-day notice. So if we run into any issues with that, we can negotiate that, but that's just putting that in the agreement. It's something we already did. And finally, on page 13, lateral transfer. This is an additional agreement, an MOU that's being codified in the actual labor agreement for lateral transfers. So that we're including this in the agreement. And then the second thing is we are defining pay scale for years of service with an employee. So we allow them to come in at a 3-year rate if they have 3 years experience. Basically, a police officer that qualifies for the lateral transfer at a 3-year rate will become eligible for the 5-year rate of pay after 2 years of service. So they don't have to wait 5 years to get to the 5-year. They start at 3 years, 2 years, they get 5, 3 more years after that, they'll get to the 8-year pay rate, on and on and on. So they'll just have that pay scale moving forward. So that's just defining that. Other than that, the remaining agreement has not changed.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
Any discussion or motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved by David, seconded by Paige. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the contract with the Ripon Professional Police Association, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next item is a resolution to write off ambulance balance. This is once again, it's kind of a large number this time. It's $34,696.93 for uncollectible ambulance billing.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved by Howard, seconded by David. Any discussion?
Can you briefly just talk about how the notifications work for someone, how the city does this to try to get the payment?
We have a system where obviously we try to do tax intercept on those that are written out as statute of limitations. Letters are mailed, letters are repeatedly mailed. Location of these people is more often than not the problem, that they're coming through, they're transient, they aren't in the area, and therefore the investment of chasing and finding and then ultimately filing a small claims action isn't justified. So we leave them on tax intercept. Obviously, the ones that are identified as statute of limitations means that under the law, if nothing happens within a 6-year period, you do not have a right to take them to court. So that's why those are being written off. And as you can see, a lot of this relates to deceased. A lot of it relates to bankruptcy, but mostly deceased. And so ultimately, the estates are indigent. If there's an estate, we file a claim. One just came in today that we recovered. We file a claim when an estate is open, but if you have any experience with estate planning in the states, less and less people are going through estate proceedings, whether that's through trust, payable on death, transfer on death deeds. There's many ways to avoid probate, even for the small amount of assets that an individual may have. Now, many of these are indigent and have no estate whatsoever. So that's the bulk of what's going on here. But
Thank you.
reasonable efforts are made to track these people down. And the tax intercept program has been fairly successful, that if you end up on this list, we are intercepting monies that you're entitled to on a refund, and we've gotten quite a few that way. It's just a lot of dollars that are charged off because of the fact that you only get so much from the insurance company. And so the balance has to be charged off, or they don't have insurance, one of the two.
Thank you.
I will just add that later on this month, we will be on the agenda to talk about billing services for the ambulance, to change how we do some of this, to lessen this number. Obviously, some of the people in the majority on here are deceased, so that is very difficult. But through the conversations and with EMS Chief Mitch, he will be here next meeting to talk about that a little bit, with a proposal to change the billing to a company that uses other strategies that we do not implement to better collect, because, you know, this is $34,000, it's a lot. We do this twice a year, and it's a lot of money, but we are currently doing a lot, but we, you know, I think the billing services will show that there are things that we can do to kind of shore up our practices with some help, so.
Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? It's unanimous. It's approved. All right, next item is resolution establishing City of Ripon wards within the county supervisory districts.
You want me to talk? So basically, yes, so last month we did have our meeting, we looked over the map. I can pull up the map if you want to see the map, we can do that, it doesn't matter. All we did was take the map, or all Ann did was take the map that we looked and put it into a resolution, basically mapping out in language what the awards will be. So, you know, we had discussed this at the last meeting. We use that map to create this, and it will establish the wards and supervisory districts within the city of Ripon per the requirement from the county to get this done, because they will be handling a resolution or whatever they do in the coming days. So that's what it is.
Thank you, Ann.
Any discussion or motions on this?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Moved by Paige, seconded by David. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving this resolution say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That one is unanimous as well. Our last action item is an ordinance to create chapter 6.37 outdoor open container entertainment event permit.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by John, seconded by, or John Split, that is, seconded by Howard. This was discussed at the last meeting. Don't believe there were any changes from the document that you saw last meeting.
No changes.
Any discussion on this item? Hey,
I do just want to address, I know that there have been concerns that have been voiced about this ordinance possibly, I don't want to say catering to, but with substance abuse issues, overdoses, everything that the city and the surrounding communities are working so hard to decrease. This is not something that's going to just allow people to walk around the city drinking. This is specifically for events. This will be approved. This will be, I think it's just important to remind people of that this is not just open season. All of a sudden this being New Orleans and being able to walk around. So, and for the safety of everyone with COVID and just not having our cute little shops overcrowded during wine walk. So I just wanted to address that because I know there were concerns about that.
and to expand on that, this, anytime that anyone wants to utilize this ordinance, they have to bring it to the council, and the council can set security limits, a certain number of people monitoring activity on the street. That is your purview to do. So keep that in mind when you see the first application come in, how you want to see these events policed, or private security, actual police. That is your decisions to make.
The ordinance is very detailed, spells out specific requirements of the entity that is obtaining it. And again, to highlight for the Common Council, this is for temporary Class B events. This is not for everybody. This is for event-driven activity. And obviously, it details the security, the requirement of the wristband, the idea that they have a certain container, that they carry it, avoids the issue of bringing in. Very detailed, and as the mayor pointed out, will come to the Common Council on case-by-case basis.
Any further questions or discussion?
Attorney Lott, I do think that I saw the wristband in this. Can you point out where that is? For me?
Looking for it myself. I know it's in here. Adam? Help.
I'm looking for it.
I thought I saw it last time,
Amazing.
and I don't see it. I can look on this one.
Here it is on H. H of, gotta go back to the section. So turn the page back, Ludwig. 637-070H. Possession or consumption of alcohol beverages by an underage within an outdoor open container and entertainment that is prohibited at all times, except as otherwise permitted by law. All individuals wishing to possess or consume a malted beverage license and/or wine within a outdoor open container event must have a wristband issued by an authorized event licensee which sold the fermented malt beverage and/or wine to the users.
And what does the authorized event licensee, the individuals that come forward to our
Asking
council?
for this event to take place. So it ties back to someone who takes legal responsibility for the event.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions or discussion?
For the sake of just taking note of that, it says this does not apply between the hours 11 PM and 6 AM. It seems, I can't imagine people wanting to have a drinking outdoors on our, before, I don't know, before 10 AM perhaps, but, I don't know, I guess 6 AM seems pretty generous, is my point.
And a question for you, Lud.
Yeah.
When people come to apply to use this ordinance,
Yep.
can the council set stricter times on a case by case?
Yes, yes, that they have rational basis to do so.
Thank you. So just a reminder, when people do come to apply for using this, you as a council can set the terms and the requirements for each event. Any further questions or discussion?
Do we want to ask if Chief Wallner has any last comments, concerns about this? He came up last time, I know,
You
but
sure can,
just to
Chief.
ask. Since he'll, and the department will be the ones enforcing this.
Yeah, I kind of expressed that the last time. I don't really have anything else to add. I think it's a well-documented proposed ordinance. I think what it does is it gives us some consistency in enforcement of these things. It puts a lot of onus on the event organizers for requirements here, but it provides us, the police department members, with some consistency across the board with your, obviously you're going to set some parameters when those applicants come forward. So I have no issues with the ordinances as it's written. In reference to the 6 AM thing, I believe that's the state statute on alcohol. When you can start serving is at 6 AM. So you could have a tavern that opens at 6 AM, and that's probably where that number came from. But as far as the ordinance in general, I have no other concerns with it, again, based on the comments that I've already made.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else?
I would just add, for the sake of this, it does seem, I appreciate that Chief and the department for this. It adds, as he said, some clarity. I do just want to personally voice that, that I do not think the city is, by passing this, creating a culture where we're making it normalized to drink alcohol. I do appreciate that, again, I will point out this 1-to-1 where you have to also offer non-alcoholic beverages if you are choosing to serve alcoholic beverages. And so, I just want to point out that, again, I appreciate that people will have to come before us to discuss each and every single event that we have. I guess I'm just kind of seconding what Paige had said earlier.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions?
And just to follow back up on the mayor's question that he asked me earlier, I kind of reread that paragraph a couple of times. There are no set times provided, so yes, you can limit it to 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever. Just can't do it between those hours.
Okay.
Any further discussion? And one last time, any further discussion? Hearing none, can I get a roll call vote?
Mrs. Schatzinger.
Aye.
Mr. Hanson,
Aye.
Mr. Gallows,
Aye.
Mrs. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Gatsky,
Aye.
Mr. Wirtz,
Yes.
Mr. Split.
Yes.
Motion or ordinance passes.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to our only discussion item is just a 2022 budget update. Adam?
On your desks, you'll have just the draft utility budget for your review. After last week's budget meeting, I wanted to just put this on here to see if there was any desire to meet in the next week or so to review the budget. There will be some minor tweaks and changes. I didn't want to put this on and go through everything again. I did owe you guys the utility budget. We got that done. So, you know, if there's things that you want to see included or changed, you know, please kind of let me know. If not, we can try to schedule a meeting to just go over things one more time. I'm kind of leaving it in your guys' hands to decide where we take this next. So, yeah.
Any discussion?
If you want me, I can get, if you want to meet again, we kind of got to finalize the budget here just to get summary budget done. But if you want, we can schedule something for next week. If you want me to do a poll, to do one more workshop or a review, and go with it if you want. It's totally up to you all. It's,
Another option would be for you all to review everything again, and Adam can send out an email with a poll on whether we want a special meeting, and if so, when we want to schedule that. That is also an option as well. Give you a chance to read over the new stuff tonight and re-review what was presented last week.
I can also forward out an updated version of the budget. There have just been some minor changes with numbers that are coming in. And then obviously there are a couple other things that'll come up over the next couple of weeks that may require changes to the budget, just based on, you know, opportunities and programs that we may get involved with. So it's just, you know, it's kind of a moving target a little bit yet, but I will forward everything out and get a poll out. Does that sound good? Anybody?
That sounds good.
Okay.
We got a thumbs up on the page. All right. There's no further discussion on that tonight. We will move on. Project updates and staff reports. Back to you, Adam.
You have my report in your packet. So a couple things we've been working on. So the lead service line replacement program is up and running completely. We have 2 applications approved so far. So we have a website directing a link direct to that program if people are interested. We've been working on some grant applications through the local government improvement program through the DOT for a couple projects, as well as we will be working on a neighborhood improvement grant through the American Rescue Plan Act of the state for the senior center trailhead project. So there's a program that came out, just took a webinar today. It's pretty encouraging because it's pretty flexible. So we hope to apply for that by November 4th. So looking at grants to kind of help supplement some of the ongoing projects and needs we have. There's a little note on housing study here. So I'm working on kind of collecting some proposals. So I will come to the council at some point in the future to discuss those. And then directly related to the budget is the interesting opportunity I talk about regarding fleet management and replacing some of our aging fleet in a unique way with the help of enterprise fleet management. You know, I'd be happy to discuss more openly about that, but we'll have a presentation likely at the next council meeting to kind of show what's going on there. We would have loved to have gotten this to you beforehand, but this is really kind of, we reached out to them, we're getting them information, they're compiling information, and it's a very unique program that quite frankly, we weren't really aware of, and Daniela recommended that we at least look at it, and we're kind of rushing toward the end here to try to maybe take advantage of the program. But it's very unique, and we'll present some more on it. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. That's it.
All right. Mike, Public Works?
I think I'll probably have a question or two. The first thing and then I'll get to that one, is the tree removal in the city. So the contractor has been in and out throughout the city. Ashland's doing some tree trimming around some wires so that the tree company can take some of those down. So they still have quite a few of that to take down, and we should see that completed from a takedown standpoint by the end of the month. As far as the compost site, we did get all that brush ground and hauled away. There might be a small pile out there yet. One of the obstacles that we've run into is I'm working with the DNR, this biochar thing or whatever, is still not built, and it won't be built till sometime in 22. So that kind of fallen through, so I'm getting pricing to grind up the wood that's out there from the same company. And if you didn't see that grinder out there grinding, I got a video, it's amazing. It really is. So we might have to address the logs that are currently out there for that. But the compost is almost back to looking pretty good right now. They will come in and grind the stumps and reseed the areas that need it. So there was, if you get calls from constituents, there was some damage to the sidewalks. Please have them let me know, and we'll address that and get that fixed, and that should be on the contractor's nickel, if you will. Okay? Any questions on what's going on with that? Leaves, it's that time of the year again. I don't know if you remember last year's budget. I had in there a new leaf box and a new cantilever system for the leaf vacuum. We've executed both of those rebuilds from the leaf box to the cantilever system. You might have seen it out there. I can't see it. So it's working better. The leaf box is new, obviously, and we've refurbished a lot of the stuff that was on the vacuum. Same motor, just some different things on there. One of the issues that I've seen with this system is the employee had to crawl up on top of the cab to disconnect the leaf box when dumping. That's a safety issue, huge. So now they don't have to do that with the new one. You go out there, you dump it, put it back down, and you're off, okay? So we want to do that conversion over to the remaining models year after year and make it better. I think the new one here is vacuuming. We talked a little, Jim, quite amazingly, actually. It's improved the process of vacuuming. So just a call out to a few of my staff. You know, a lot of the people worked on the leaf box that's in the shop, so great job from them. I really had 4 key people: John Quacco, Gene Reisen, Chris Newens, and Gordy Crump, that assembled the cantilever system and basically engineered it in-house and got that system going. So we can cantilever those now onto the truck because the front of the trucks are a lot heavier nowadays than they used to be in the past. question, Jolene, on any of that, but I bet you got one more.
No, I just, I think it's appreciative to let also people know, to put it up on the, not to have it on the street, the leaves, and
So let's kind of go through the program. So leaves can be put on the terrace anytime, starting immediately, and we'll start full pickup in the city Monday. So we have 3 zones, 1, 2, and 3. In each of those zones, there's a route that the driver must follow, okay? They can't deviate from that. They must follow it and go down there. Go down that route. When they come back in, they have a sheet. They have to highlight where they've been. Okay, so we know where we've been. We date it. That gets turned into Lisa. Why do we do that? So we know where we've been. So when somebody calls in and says, you missed my pile, we were there on this date, okay? So we also know where, basically kind of what's going on, so we can communicate that to people. So that'll start Monday, and it goes to the 3rd Friday in November. Hopefully we don't have any snow in October, but we try to make at least 3 rounds through the city. We'll do everything we can to get 3 passes through the city. If we can do more, great in that time. But at that point, we have to start to convert to plow trucks, all right? That's why we don't continue on any farther. And it takes a lot of time to tear these down and clean them up. So with that being said, we are already starting to work on plow equipment and get that stuff together. We are starting to train now. Coming up, we'll review all our policies, our procedures, and everything, our routes, our brine flow chart, everything, okay? So that everybody's on the same page, all right? Because we only do it, we don't do it day in and day out. So we need to refresh our memories on that. So leaves, snow. So over the course of this week, you'll see us start wrapping some stuff up also. We got some open paving and things. We're looking at probably Thursday to wrap up this paving and get that stuff over with, and just some fall things that we need to get fixed up. Okay? Yep.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Chief, anything for police department? Nothing? All right. I have no appointments. Just gonna say tonight, get vaccinated, be safe, stay healthy, and remember to be kind, considerate, and respectful to others. Any comments or future agenda items from council members? John?
I was just wondering if anybody feels that we should have a discussion item of the face covering policy if we did break any open meeting laws, or if we have, what our arrangements are. It's probably a question for Ludd that would know more, but if anybody
From my
feels that-
perspective, I certainly will talk with the city administrator in detail how it's evolved, because I
Okay.
haven't got a lot of feedback other than the comment that it's going well, and there's been circumstances that have come to our attention that the policy certainly needed to be in place for.
Okay.
So I will talk with him. Certainly, I think that at the direction of the council, you can vote this evening to put it on. I'm not trying to cut you short, but I want an opportunity to kind of go through it again and see where some of these questions, I haven't seen all the questions, I wasn't at the last meeting. So I want to take a look at the questions from the public and see if any of those need to be addressed in a forum like the full council.
Yeah, then you would, if you find a need, you'll bring that back, or Adam would bring
That's
it
my
back.
feeling,
Okay,
God. If you give
that's
me that
fair enough.
opportunity to meet,
Yeah.
look at the questions, I think certainly the minimum we do is get an answer back to the concerned citizen in one form or another. And then if we feel the necessity of revisiting, we bring that forward to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? John?
Not for the next meeting, but just maybe for the future. I guess it would have been nice maybe if Craig was still here, but whenever that first application comes through for an open container, whatever it is, I'm assuming, I look at Craig because I'm picturing like Dickens of a Christmas, it's gonna be the first one. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Wine walk.
Wine walk.
It's coming.
We'll
It'll
have
come
one
to the next
next
meeting.
meeting.
It'll be the
So,
next.
my question being is, the first common council meeting after we approve that, can we all get together and maybe have the chief and just sit down and see if anything that we didn't think about, came up, or, if your resources were pushed a little beyond what we originally
A
expected?
basic review of the
Yeah,
event?
just a
Yeah.
review. And we don't have to do it every time, but maybe after the first one or two, so.
We've done that before. Good idea.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So yeah, I have no problem with putting that on the agenda.
Well noted.
Adam, so we'll have that on the agenda following the event. Review of the application or the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else? Join.
Just want to say that last night I was at the open house and there was, over at the fire department, and there was representatives from EMS, fire department, the police, our dispatch, emergency dispatch, and it was so neat to see them interacting with kids and our whole community, and it's just wonderful to see that, again, a thank you to our emergency services and for making the time to have that for our community.
Yeah, it was a great event.
Very good. Anyone else? No? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Moved by Paige. Is there a second?
Second.
Nope.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Oh, yeah, no.
Seconded by Howard. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:50.
If you need to do